Ethan Cole stood at the edge of the grand hall on Zithra, his tall figure calm against the glittering chaos around him. The room shimmered with alien lights, reflecting off crystal walls and metallic floors. Aliens of every imaginable shape and color mingled, their voices blending into a strange, musical hum. Humans were rare here, and most of the crowd looked at him with a mix of curiosity and subtle condescension. To them, humans were fragile, slow, and weak. Ethan, however, knew better. He had trained for this moment all his life, preparing for challenges no one expected a human to survive. The gala was meant to celebrate Princess Liara's ascension as the youngest ruler of Zithra in over a century. She was graceful and intelligent, a leader who had already earned respect across the stars. Her reputation had reached Earth, yet few humans had ever seen her in person. Ethan had been assigned as a security officer, one of the few humans chosen for the Interstellar Coalition's peacekeeping forces. Most aliens thought humans were simple. They did not understand that humans could endure extreme conditions, think in unpredictable ways, and act with courage beyond measure. Ethan scanned the crowd, his eyes catching small details others missed. A servant's hesitation, a guard's nervous glance, the subtle shifts in the alien diplomat's positions. Every movement was data, every gesture a possible threat. His instincts told him something was wrong. Nothing overt, nothing immediately dangerous, but the tension in the room was thick. Princess Liara appeared on the balcony above, her golden hair catching the light of the chandeliers. Her eyes were sharp and curious as she surveyed the room. She smiled lightly, acknowledging the dignitaries and diplomats who had traveled across galaxies to honor her. Her presence commanded attention, not through fear, but through a quiet confidence that left the crowd captivated. When her gaze fell on Ethan, she raised an eyebrow, her expression playful. "You there, human?" she called softly, her voice carrying just enough to reach him. "Can you defend me?" Ethan's posture and calmness already challenged their assumptions, but none of them had any idea what humans were truly capable of. As the gala progressed, Ethan moved silently through the crowd, his senses alert. Aliens whispered in their native tongues, speaking of political rivalries and old grudges. Some glanced at him with doubt, others with amusement. A human at a royal gala was unusual, even for a coalition celebration. They didn't know that humans could think faster than many alien species, react quicker than most, and endure hardships that others could not imagine. He noticed a group of aliens lingering near the private entrances to the balcony. They were not here to celebrate. Their eyes darted around, scanning for someone or something. Ethan's instincts flared. These were the subtle signs of an attack, a probing strike to test the princess's security. No one else seemed to notice, or if they did, they dismissed it. Ethan moved closer to the group, blending with the crowd. His height and build allowed him to appear unassuming, though every step he took was deliberate. He observed their movements, the slight tension in their limbs, the way their eyes flickered to the exits. These aliens were professionals, trained for infiltration, yet even they did not suspect that a human was already watching them, reading their intentions with precision. The princess descended from the balcony, joining the crowd with effortless grace. Her golden eyes scanned the room, and she paused briefly near Ethan. "I hope you are not just another human who thinks he is brave," she said softly, almost teasing. "I hope you are more than that." She had expected a polite escort, someone who would follow orders without question. Instead, she saw a figure exuding quiet power and awareness, a being who might be underestimated at his own peril. Minutes passed, and the tension in the air thickened. Ethan's eyes never left the suspicious group near the exits. He noticed subtle signs, a hand hovering near a concealed weapon, a faint shimmer indicating advanced cloaking technology. They were waiting for the right moment to strike. Suddenly, one of the aliens made a small, deliberate movement, a test of the guard's reflexes. Almost immediately, Ethan reacted. He moved silently through the crowd, positioning himself between the princess and the group, his senses alert and ready. The alien's hand reached for a device, likely a disruptor meant to incapacitate the princess. Before they could act, Ethan's hand shot out, grabbing the device midair. The small weapon emitted a faint hum, and he crushed it with his bare hand, bending the metal effortlessly. The crowd gasped, the sound echoing across the hall. Aliens nearby froze, staring in disbelief. Princess Liara's eyes widened. She had expected protection, yes, but not the kind of strength she had just witnessed. Ethan turned slowly, his calm gaze meeting hers. "You are safe, princess," he said. The group of infiltrators hesitated, surprised by the human's speed and strength. They had underestimated him, assuming humans were weak, fragile, and easily overpowered. Ethan's presence alone changed the balance, but the danger was not over. Ethan knew this was a probing attack. They would not give up so easily. The gala continued, but he maintained his vigilance, scanning every face, every shadow, every movement. Humans could adapt quickly, and Ethan's training allowed him to predict threats before they fully materialized. Liara, impressed and intrigued, moved closer to Ethan. "I see that you are no ordinary human," she whispered. "You are different. No one will harm you while I am present." As the night wore on, Ethan's attention never wavered. He noticed small details others overlooked. A subtle exchange between two diplomats, a shadow moving against the light, a faint vibration indicating hidden devices. Every observation added to a growing picture of a possible threat beyond the gala itself. Ethan approached Liara, keeping his tone calm. "Princess, this gala may be more dangerous than it seems. I suggest we move to a more secure area once the event concludes." Yet Ethan had earned it without a word, simply by being observant, composed, and ready. The gala continued, but the subtle undercurrent of tension remained. Ethan stayed near Liara, blending into the crowd while maintaining vigilance. Every step he took, every glance he made, was calculated to protect her and anticipate danger. Humans were underestimated, but Ethan intended to prove that a single human could alter the outcome of events in ways no alien expected. By the end of the night, the gala appeared successful. Diplomats exchanged pleasantries, laughter echoed in the hall, and the princess smiled at her guests. But Ethan knew better. Danger was never far away, and the events of the night had only been a test. As they left the hall, Liara glanced at Ethan. "You are remarkable," she said quietly. "I had no idea humans could be like this." She had asked a question that seemed simple, almost playful, but the answer had far exceeded her expectations. Humans, she realized, were not to be underestimated, and neither was the human standing before her. Outside, the night sky of Zithra stretched endlessly, dotted with stars and distant planets. Ethan's eyes scanned the horizon, aware that this was only the beginning. The gala had revealed threats, but the real danger was yet to come. And when it did, humans like him would be ready. For the first time, Princess Liara understood that humanity was not fragile. They were unpredictable, strong, and courageous in ways the galaxy had never anticipated. And she would rely on that strength, whether she knew it fully or not. As they walked toward the secure wing of the palace, Ethan maintained his watchful posture. Every step was deliberate, every movement precise. The night was quiet, but danger lingered in shadows beyond the palace walls. Humans were underestimated, yes, but that underestimation could be turned into a powerful advantage, and Ethan intended to do just that. The morning sun of Zithra rose slowly over the horizon, casting soft light over the palace and its gardens. Birds with feathers of shimmering blue and gold chirped as though celebrating the new day. Yet the beauty of the morning belied the tension that hung invisibly in the air. Ethan Cole, standing at the entrance of the palace, already sensed it. His eyes scanned every corner, every shadow, and every movement of the palace staff. Humans were often underestimated, but Ethan knew that vigilance and quick thinking could make all the difference. Princess Liara entered the main hall, her posture graceful and confident. She had already begun her daily routines, meeting advisors and reviewing reports. Her golden hair reflected the morning light, and her eyes, sharp and curious, observed everything around her. She trusted the palace guards and her security team, but there was an unmistakable calm in Ethan's presence that reassured her. He was human, yes, but unlike anyone she had ever met. His strength was quiet, almost hidden, yet it radiated from him like a protective shield. Ethan moved alongside her, his movements precise and deliberate. He was not just watching the visible crowd, but also the subtle signs of danger that often went unnoticed. He noticed a slight tension in the guards near the northern entrance, a small whisper between two palace attendants, and a flicker of movement along the balcony. These were small details, easy to overlook, but Ethan understood them as potential warning signs. The first test came subtly. A servant approached Liara with a ceremonial tray, but Ethan's eyes caught the faint shimmer of a small device concealed beneath it. He reacted instantly, stepping forward to intercept. The device hummed faintly, a high-tech disruptor meant to incapacitate the princess. With a swift motion, Ethan grabbed it and twisted, bending the metal until it was useless. The servant froze, panic flashing in his eyes, and then ran. The room, unaware of the danger, continued its normal activity. Liara turned to Ethan, surprise and admiration in her eyes. "You are faster than I imagined," she said softly. Ethan gave a slight nod. "This was only a test. There may be others." He observed subtle signs, a slight hesitation in a guard's step, a shadow moving where there should be none, the faint hum of cloaked devices. Every observation was a puzzle piece, and Ethan's mind worked quickly to fit them together. It was around noon when the first real threat arrived. A group of cloaked figures appeared near the eastern perimeter of the gardens. Their movements were calculated, silent, and precise. They were not ordinary intruders. They were trained operatives, professionals sent to test the palace's defenses. Most of the alien guards did not notice them, or if they did, they assumed the cloaks would keep them safe. Humans, however, had developed instincts for reading intentions, and Ethan's instincts flared. He moved through the crowd with practiced ease, keeping himself between the cloaked figures and the princess. With a series of quiet signals, he alerted the nearby human and alien guards without alarming the general crowd. The infiltrators were experts, but they had not anticipated a human's awareness. The attack began with sudden precision. One cloaked figure lunged toward Liara, aiming to grab her and disappear in the chaos. Ethan reacted instantly, catching the figure mid-leap. The crowd gasped as he twisted in midair, using the intruder's momentum to throw him across the courtyard. The figure hit the ground with a heavy thud, momentarily stunned. Liara's eyes widened. She had expected protection, yes, but not this display of strength and agility. Ethan's movements were fluid, almost artistic, yet deadly in their precision. Other intruders tried to attack, but Ethan was everywhere at once. He blocked a hidden blade, disarmed another with a single motion, and used his environment to his advantage, turning benches, fountains, and pillars into tools and barriers. The palace guards were finally alerted to the seriousness of the attack. They joined the fray, but Ethan remained at the forefront. He coordinated their movements, directing them to protect key points while he intercepted the intruders' most dangerous attacks. Aliens, who had underestimated humans for centuries, now watched in awe. A single human had not only survived, but was actively controlling the battlefield. One of the cloaked figures attempted a more advanced tactic, activating a small energy pulse designed to knock anyone nearby unconscious. Ethan's reflexes were faster than the device's pulse. He grabbed a metallic statue and used it to shield Liara, blocking the energy without even flinching. The energy hit the statue with a loud clang, and the intruder's plan failed. Liara's admiration grew with every passing moment. She had underestimated humans, assuming that brute strength or sheer numbers were needed to protect her. Ethan proved that intelligence, adaptability, and courage could surpass even the most advanced technology. She began to see a new side of human potential, one that could not be measured by alien expectations. The fight continued through the gardens and into the palace corridors. Ethan moved with speed and precision, guiding Liara away from danger while neutralizing threats. He never hesitated, never panicked, and never underestimated his opponents. His human instincts allowed him to predict the intruders' moves, countering them before they could strike. At one point, an intruder managed to corner Liara near a decorative fountain. Ethan appeared instantly, intercepting the attacker with a forceful sweep that sent the intruder crashing into the wall. Liara stumbled slightly, her breath quickened by the sudden danger, but Ethan's steady presence calmed her. "You are safe now," he said firmly. The intruders, realizing their attack was failing, began to retreat. Ethan pursued them only as far as necessary, ensuring Liara's safety first. The palace guards secured the area, but it was clear that the humans' unexpected capabilities had turned the tide. Aliens whispered among themselves, astonished at the speed, strength, and intelligence displayed by a single human. After the attack, Ethan escorted Liara back to a secure wing of the palace. The corridors were quiet now, the danger having passed for the moment. Liara walked beside him, her mind racing with questions. "I never imagined humans could be like this," she said softly. "We thought of you as fragile, slow, easy to dismiss, but you are extraordinary. That is something humans have learned to use to their advantage." Humans were resilient, adaptable, and courageous, but the galaxy was full of dangers that even they had to respect. He turned back to Liara. "You were never in real danger while I was near, but we must remain vigilant. There are those who would seek to harm you for their own gain." She had relied on guards and technology in the past, but now she realized that true protection came from intelligence, intuition, and courage, the very qualities humans possessed in abundance. The rest of the day passed with heightened vigilance. Ethan monitored every movement, every shadow, and every subtle change in the palace's rhythm. He trained his attention not just on physical threats, but also on subtle psychological cues. Humans were capable of thinking in ways that aliens often could not anticipate. That unpredictability, combined with strength and courage, made them powerful allies. As evening approached, the palace halls were quiet. The garden attack had ended, but the lessons remained. Aliens in the palace began to whisper, reassessing their assumptions about humans. A single human had not only survived an attack, but had controlled it, protected the princess, and turned what was meant to be a simple strike into a demonstration of human capability. Princess Liara approached Ethan in the private chamber. Her eyes held a mixture of curiosity, respect, and a hint of amusement. "You are unlike anyone I have ever known," she said softly. "I asked a simple question this morning, and your answer has been extraordinary. I will not make that mistake again." The first test had come and passed, but he knew the real challenge was yet to come. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, and those who underestimated humanity often paid a heavy price. Princess Liara, standing beside him, now understood something vital. Humans were not fragile. They were intelligent, courageous, and strong in ways that the galaxy had yet to appreciate. And this human, Ethan Cole, would ensure that she, and perhaps all of Zithra, would see just how formidable humanity could be. For Ethan, the attack was a reminder that vigilance and preparation were never wasted. Humans were underestimated, yes, but underestimation could be turned into advantage. And in the moments to come, that advantage would be tested in ways no one on Zithra could yet imagine. As night fell, the stars above Zithra shimmered with distant light, but the real battle was only beginning. Humans were underestimated, aliens were unaware of their true strength, and Ethan Cole was ready to show the galaxy that humans were not to be dismissed. The morning after the attack, Zithra's palace was alive with quiet tension. Guards patrolled every corridor, attendants whispered in hushed voices, and the princess herself moved with a careful awareness that had not been necessary before. Ethan Cole observed it all, standing near the entrance to the council chambers. He was calm, his posture relaxed, but every sense was alert. The first attack had been a warning, a probing strike, and he knew the real threat was still out there, waiting. Princess Liara approached him, her expression serious but trusting. "Ethan," she said softly, "we have always relied on protocols, guards, and technology. But after yesterday, I see that none of that matters without someone who can think and act when it counts. That is often underestimated by other species. The real danger may come from someone we trust, or someone we cannot see." Ethan's human intuition told him that not all threats were external. Some may be hidden within the palace itself. He began a careful investigation, quietly observing and questioning individuals, noting their behavior and looking for patterns. He discovered small, almost invisible details. One advisor kept his hand near a concealed communicator, a kitchen worker had access to restricted areas, and several guards had inconsistent schedules. These were not coincidences. Ethan's mind pieced the puzzle together, realizing that the palace might have traitors, insiders who had aided the attackers. Meanwhile, Princess Liara reviewed reports in her private chambers. She had always trusted her staff, believing in loyalty and honor. But Ethan's observations made her question what she had assumed to be absolute. Humans, she realized, saw things that others overlooked. Their instincts, their adaptability, and their ability to think outside conventional rules gave them an edge that most alien species lacked. Ethan approached her quietly, holding a small device he had found during his inspection. "Princess, I believe yesterday's attack was planned with inside help. This device indicates that someone within the palace may be communicating with the attackers. I recommend we tighten security and monitor key personnel closely." Humans had a unique ability to notice inconsistencies that others dismissed. Small patterns, gestures, and hidden signals could reveal more than any technology could. By mid-afternoon, Ethan had identified several suspicious individuals. He did not act immediately but continued to observe, waiting for the right moment to confirm his suspicions. He had learned that acting too quickly could alert the conspirators, giving them a chance to escape or retaliate. Patience, strategy, and careful planning were as important as strength and speed. As the sun began to set, Ethan discovered a hidden passage within the palace, one that led directly to the eastern gates. He realized that this passage could be used by intruders to bypass the main security checkpoints. His mind raced with possibilities, calculating how the attackers could use it and how he could prevent it. Humans were not just physically strong, they were thinkers, planners, and problem solvers. He decided to test his theory. Quietly, he followed the passage, noting the shadows and the faint traces of recent movement. His instincts were correct. The passage had been used recently, likely by the same group that had attacked the gardens. A low hum of a device alerted him to the presence of a concealed communicator, hidden in the wall. With careful precision, Ethan disabled it without leaving a trace. The communication link that allowed the attackers to coordinate was cut, leaving them unaware that their plan was already being countered. Returning to the main hall, Ethan reported his findings to Liara. "Princess, there is more than one person involved. Yesterday was only a test. The real attack may be larger and more coordinated. We must prepare." "What do you suggest?" "The traitors will not reveal themselves willingly." Ethan carefully noted each anomaly, cross-referencing them with the patterns of the attackers from yesterday. Every detail mattered. By nightfall, Ethan had confirmed his suspicions. The attack had insiders, and some of them were still within the palace. The realization was sobering, but it only strengthened his resolve. Humans had survived countless dangers on Earth and beyond. Their adaptability, courage, and intelligence made them capable of overcoming challenges that seemed impossible. Ethan was determined to use every advantage humanity had to protect the princess and the palace. He called Princess Liara to a secure chamber. The room was quiet, illuminated by soft lights that reflected off the polished floors. "Princess, I have confirmed that some of your staff are involved in the conspiracy," Ethan said. "We must isolate them carefully and ensure they cannot harm anyone. Acting hastily could put the palace at risk." "I trust your judgment completely." Late into the night, Ethan observed the suspicious individuals attempting to communicate through hidden devices. He moved silently, disabling each device without alerting them. When the conspirators realized their communications were cut, panic spread among them. They had underestimated the human in their midst. Finally, Ethan confronted the traitors, revealing their actions to loyal guards and the princess. The conspirators attempted to resist, but Ethan's strength and tactical skill were unmatched. He moved swiftly, disarming them and ensuring they were restrained without harm. His speed, intelligence, and composure left the aliens in awe. Humans, they realized, were capable of far more than brute force. They combined brains, reflexes, and courage in a way no alien had anticipated. Princess Liara watched the scene unfold, her admiration for Ethan growing with every move he made. "I asked if you could defend me, human," she said quietly, "but you have done more than that. You have uncovered betrayal and protected your allies in ways I never imagined." Humans have learned to survive through thinking, adapting, and persevering. Liara approached him, her expression filled with trust and newfound respect. "You have changed how I see humanity, Ethan. I once thought humans were fragile, simple, and predictable. But you have shown courage, intelligence, and strength that surpasses expectation. That is something humans have learned to use to their advantage. Our strength is not just in our bodies, but in our minds, our adaptability, and our determination to protect those we care about." But Ethan knew the real challenge was yet to come. The conspiracy was larger than a simple attack. It was a threat that reached beyond the palace walls, a danger that could not be ignored. Liara looked at Ethan with a mixture of curiosity and resolve. "I asked a question that seemed simple," she said softly, "but your answer has been extraordinary. Humans are far more capable than I ever imagined." The galaxy was full of dangers, and humans were often underestimated. That underestimation, however, could become a powerful advantage. Princess Liara stood beside him, realizing for the first time that she had a protector unlike any she had known before. Ethan Cole was human, yes, but he was also an example of humanity's greatest strengths: courage, intelligence, adaptability, and an unwavering resolve to protect those in need. And as the sun rose higher over Zithera, Ethan knew the next challenge would be greater, more dangerous, and far more revealing. Humans were underestimated, aliens were unaware of their true potential, and Ethan Cole was ready to demonstrate that humanity's strength was more than anyone had imagined. The galaxy, he knew, was about to learn that lesson the hard way. The sky above Zithera darkened in the late afternoon as clouds of deep violet gathered, unusual for the planet's normally clear skies. A tense stillness gripped the palace and its surrounding city. Guards patrolled the walls more frequently, while Princess Liara moved with a quiet determination, preparing for the worst. She had placed her trust in Ethan Cole, the human who had already saved the palace once and uncovered the conspiracy within. But even with him, the threat now looming was unlike anything she had faced before. Ethan stood at the eastern gate, his gaze sweeping across the horizon. Through his human eyes, he could see patterns and signs others would miss. Distant movements among the cliffs beyond the city, subtle flickers of energy in the sky, and the faint glint of ships moving too fast to belong to any known patrol. He did not speak, for words were unnecessary. The intruders were coming, and they were numerous. The first sign of the attack was a ripple through the ground, a vibration almost imperceptible, but Ethan felt it instantly. A fleet of enemy ships descended from the clouds, their engines glowing like streaks of molten metal. They were fast, aggressive, and coordinated. Aliens within the city panicked, but Ethan remained calm, his mind already calculating strategy. Humans thrived in chaos, and his adaptability would become Zithra's greatest asset. "Princess, stay behind me," he said firmly, guiding Liara toward the palace's central hall. "These attackers are numerous, but they are not unbeatable. Strategy, not panic, will save us." Tables became barricades, statues became defensive obstacles, and even decorative fountains were used to funnel attackers into narrow passages. Every step he took demonstrated human ingenuity at its finest. The first wave of intruders breached the outer courtyard. Ethan met them head-on. They were armed with energy blades and disruptor rifles, confident in their numbers and training. But they had underestimated him. With a series of swift, controlled movements, Ethan disarmed one intruder, used another's momentum to throw him into a wall, and blocked a laser pulse with a metallic ornament he grabbed instinctively. Each action was calculated, efficient, and lethal without unnecessary violence. The palace guards watched in awe. Aliens who had once dismissed humans as weak were now witnessing a display of unparalleled skill. One human was holding the line against dozens, protecting not just a princess, but the entire city. Liara, standing safely behind him, felt both pride and astonishment. The intruders adapted quickly, coordinating attacks in small groups. Ethan anticipated each move, using his human intuition to predict patterns. He directed the guards to flank attackers, set traps, and use environmental advantages. A balcony railing became a makeshift barrier. A fountain's water was redirected to trip advancing enemies. Hallways were narrowed to give smaller numbers a defensive edge. Every tactic reflected a human mind trained to survive against impossible odds. One attacker broke through the initial defense and lunged toward Liara. Ethan reacted instantly, stepping between them and using the intruder's momentum to hurl him across the courtyard. The impact sent the attacker tumbling into a pile of crates, temporarily stunned. Liara's golden eyes widened as she realized the human defending her was faster, stronger, and smarter than anyone she had ever known. The sky darkened further as the enemy sent reinforcements. Ships hovered above the palace, firing energy pulses that shook the walls. Ethan analyzed each trajectory, calculating cover points and the safest paths for Liara. He led her through secret passages he had discovered earlier, avoiding open courtyards where the attackers' ranged weapons would have been deadly. Humans had a unique ability to combine strategy with physical skill, and Ethan demonstrated it flawlessly. As the attack escalated, Ethan coordinated with loyal alien guards to set traps. Hidden spikes, tripwires, and energy nets caught many intruders off guard. The attackers had assumed superior technology and numbers would ensure victory, but they did not account for a human's adaptability and tactical thinking. Each step Ethan took shifted the battlefield in his favor, turning desperation into controlled advantage. At one point, a group of attackers cornered Ethan and Liara in a large hall. The intruders believed they had trapped him, but humans thrived under pressure. Using a combination of speed and brute force, Ethan vaulted over a railing, grabbed an advancing attacker, and swung him into another, creating a domino effect that incapacitated the group. Guards following his lead quickly moved in to secure the area. Liara, witnessing this, realized that a single human could inspire strategy, confidence, and courage in others. The battle extended to the palace's outer walls. Ethan scaled a damaged section of the wall, leaping to intercept attackers attempting to infiltrate from above. His movements were almost inhuman to alien eyes, a mix of strength, speed, and precise timing. He used nearby debris as weapons, shields, and tools, demonstrating that humans could turn any environment into an advantage. The attacker's leader finally revealed himself, a towering figure with advanced combat armor and weapons far superior to the standard troops. He moved with calculated precision, confident in his abilities. Ethan faced him directly, unflinching. The two circled each other, energy weapons drawn. The alien leader underestimated human resilience, assuming a human would be slower, weaker, and less intelligent in combat. Ethan moved first, not recklessly, but with deliberate strategy. He dodged energy blasts with precise timing, used the enemy's momentum against him, and struck with measured strength. Each movement was designed to protect the princess and keep the attackers off balance. His human reflexes, combined with tactical intelligence, allowed him to control the flow of the fight, even against a superior opponent. Liara watched from a secure vantage point, her admiration growing with every strike. "I asked if you could defend me, human," she whispered, "but you are defending more than just me. You are protecting Zithro itself." He moved through the chaos like a calm storm, neutralizing threats, directing guards, and ensuring the safety of the princess. His intelligence and courage inspired those around him, turning fear into determination. Aliens who had doubted humanity now saw a human leading the defense with unmatched skill. Finally, Ethan confronted the enemy leader in the palace's central courtyard. The alien attacked with powerful energy strikes, but Ethan's human reflexes and adaptability allowed him to evade and counter. He used the environment strategically: columns for cover, fountains to trip the enemy, and walls to redirect energy blasts. Each move showcased the ingenuity and strength that humans were capable of when underestimated. With one final, decisive maneuver, Ethan disarmed the leader, using his momentum to throw him to the ground and immobilize him. The remaining attackers, seeing their leader defeated, retreated in confusion and fear. The palace was safe, the princess protected, and Zithra's city intact. Humans had shown a strength and intelligence that even the most advanced alien forces could not overcome. Princess Liara approached Ethan, her expression a mixture of relief, respect, and admiration. "You have done what no one else could," she said softly. "I see now that humans are not to be underestimated. You are not just strong, you are extraordinary." That is something humans have learned to use to their advantage. Strength is not only in our bodies, but in our minds, our adaptability, and our determination to protect those we care about. The galaxy had begun to see what humanity could achieve when its potential was unleashed. Liara stood beside him, gazing at the horizon where the last enemy ships disappeared. "I will never doubt humanity again," she said quietly. "You have proven that courage, intelligence, and strength can overcome even the most impossible odds. There are more challenges ahead, but humans are ready. We do not rely solely on technology or numbers. We rely on thinking, adapting, and acting when it matters most." He had faced overwhelming odds, protected the princess, and shown that humans were more than anyone had imagined. The city below was safe for now, but Ethan knew the galaxy was vast, full of dangers and challenges yet to come. Aliens had seen the human potential firsthand, and the lesson was clear: humanity could not be dismissed. Princess Liara, standing beside him, understood that her kingdom had gained more than a protector. It had gained a symbol of hope, strength, and inspiration. Ethan Cole was not just a human. He was the embodiment of everything humanity could achieve when underestimated. And as the first stars appeared in Zithra's night sky, the princess and the human warrior prepared for the future, ready to face whatever new threats the galaxy would bring, confident that humanity's courage and intelligence would shine brighter than any technology or weapon. The battle for Zithra had been won, but the story of human strength was only beginning. The morning after the battle, Zithra was calm, almost eerily so. The city streets were quiet, with only the distant hum of repair crews and palace guards moving through the corridors. The palace itself bore the marks of the attack: scorched walls, broken statues, and scattered debris, but it stood strong. Humanity's resilience, embodied in Ethan Cole, had turned the tide, and now the people of Zithra were beginning to understand the true value of his presence. Princess Liara walked through the main hall, her golden hair catching the early sunlight. Her eyes, though weary from the long night, were bright with determination and clarity. The events of the previous day had changed her perspective. Humans, she realized, were not the fragile, easily dismissed creatures most aliens assumed. They were clever, resourceful, and strong in ways that defied expectation. and Ethan, standing beside her, had proven it beyond question. Ethan observed the palace quietly, his posture calm, but his mind never ceased to process. Humans excelled in vigilance and adaptability, and he knew that the galaxy was full of dangers, some that could strike without warning. He had faced one battle, uncovered a conspiracy, and protected the princess and the city, but he understood that their victory was not the end. It was a lesson. Humans were underestimated, and that underestimation could become a weapon. "Ethan," Liara said, approaching him as he inspected the damage to one of the courtyard walls, "the palace is secure now, thanks to you. But I know this attack was only part of a larger plan. You have seen more than I have. What should we do next?" "We must strengthen our defenses, Princess. There are more forces out there who will test us. But Zithara now knows that humans are not just allies. They are strategic, strong, and capable of turning impossible situations into victories. That knowledge alone will make potential attackers think twice." "You have changed how I see the galaxy, Ethan. I once believed humans were simple and fragile, but you have shown courage, intelligence, and strength beyond imagination. Our strength lies not only in our bodies, but in our minds, our adaptability, and our will to protect those we care about. Humans were not just physical beings. They were thinkers, planners, and motivators. Ethan's calm authority inspired both humans and aliens alike, demonstrating that courage and intelligence together could overcome overwhelming odds. By afternoon, word of the battle had spread through the city. Citizens gathered at safe distances, peering at the palace with a mix of awe and respect. They had seen glimpses of the human warrior's actions, the swift, decisive moves that had turned the tide, the calm precision that had neutralized attackers, and the courage that had inspired others to fight. Humans, they realized, were far more than they had assumed. Liara addressed her people from the palace balcony, her voice carrying over the city. "Today, we have learned that courage does not come from size, technology, or experience alone. It comes from intelligence, adaptability, and determination. We have been protected by a human, Ethan Cole, whose strength and insight saved our palace and our lives. Let his actions be a reminder that we must never underestimate those who may seem different, for they may possess the power to change the course of history." A single human had not only survived impossible challenges, but had outsmarted and overpowered a coordinated, technologically advanced attack. Humans were now no longer a species to be dismissed. They were a force to be respected. As the city settled into cautious calm, Ethan and Liara moved through the palace to review the captured conspirators. The traitors had been detained and were under secure observation. Their communications had been intercepted, their plans revealed, and their influence neutralized. Ethan had used a combination of observation, strategy, and adaptability to uncover them, proving once again that human ingenuity often surpassed the expectations of alien minds. Liara watched him work, noting how calmly and efficiently he moved. "I asked a simple question before," she said quietly, "if you could defend me. But you have done far more than that. You have defended an entire kingdom, uncovered betrayal, and shown the galaxy the true power of humanity. Protection is not about heroics, Princess. It is about awareness, preparation, and action when it matters most. Humans are underestimated, yes, but that underestimation can become our greatest advantage. We survive by thinking, adapting, and persevering." Repairs continued in the outer courtyards, but inside, the atmosphere was lighter. Liara moved among her staff, expressing gratitude and relief. Yet her eyes often returned to Ethan, the human whose actions had reshaped her understanding of the universe. Later, as the palace quieted and the stars appeared over Zithara, Ethan and Liara stood on the balcony overlooking the city. The glow of the sunset reflected off the buildings, casting golden light across the palace grounds. For the first time since the attack, there was a sense of true peace. "You have done more than defend me, Ethan," Liara said softly. "You have changed the way we see the universe. Humans are not weak. Humans are strong, clever, and courageous. You have shown me that. Not just for me, but for all of Zithara. Your presence has made a difference that will be remembered for generations." "That is our strength." Ethan had shown courage, intelligence, and strength that no alien could have predicted. As night deepened, the palace lights glowed warmly, reflecting the calm that had returned to the city. Ethan patrolled the outer walls once more, ensuring no lingering threats remained. His human instincts, heightened awareness, and unwavering courage had transformed what could have been disaster into triumph. He moved silently, a guardian whose presence alone reassured those around him. Liara joined him on the walls, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. "Do you think they will ever truly understand humans?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "Perhaps not, but it does not matter. What matters is that we continue to act, to protect, and to show what humans are capable of. Respect is earned through deeds, not assumptions. And today, humanity has earned a great deal of it. Their unpredictability, intelligence, and courage made them forces that could shape the course of events in ways no alien could foresee." The palace guards, once skeptical of humans, now looked at Ethan with quiet reverence. The city's people whispered stories of the human warrior who had defended their princess and city with strength and intelligence beyond imagination. For centuries, aliens had underestimated humans, but that perception had shifted forever. Ethan finally stepped back from the walls, allowing himself a moment of quiet reflection. Humans were often dismissed, overlooked, or underestimated, but they thrived in the challenges others thought insurmountable. That unpredictability, combined with courage and intelligence, made them powerful. And in this battle, Zithra had witnessed it firsthand. Princess Liara placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of both gratitude and respect. "You have proven something important today," she said softly. "Not just to me, but to everyone who doubted humans. You have shown strength, courage, and wisdom. I will not forget this." But our actions speak for themselves. We survive, we protect, and we adapt. That is what makes us strong. But beyond that, a larger truth had been revealed. Humans were capable of extraordinary things when underestimated, and their strength would not be forgotten. As Liara looked at Ethan, she realized that she had not just found a protector, she had discovered the true potential of humanity. Humans were not fragile. They were intelligent, resourceful, and capable of inspiring courage in others. And Ethan Cole had proven that, in ways no alien could have imagined. The night settled over Zithra, calm and serene, but the story of human strength had only begun. Across the galaxy, whispers would spread of the human who defended a princess, uncovered conspiracies, and turned what seemed impossible into victory. Humanity was no longer underestimated. Their courage, intelligence, and determination had made a mark that would endure. Ethan Cole, standing quietly beside Princess Liara, watched over the palace. Humans were underestimated, yes, but their time to shine had come, and the galaxy would never forget it.